Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for Ethereum price prediction based on Elliott wave analysis. This is a deep analysis for Ethereum to see what's going on and what it might happen in Ethereum for the next weeks. So basically in Ethereum, of course, we still see some reds here and we're still looking at this big corrective wave toward the downside after an impulse 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 5. We see our parabolic curve here hitting all the all-time highs for every single cycle, which the last one did not reach even the all-time high, a new one, and it was showing a corrective wave. Now we see three waves down, three waves up, and potentially, of course, an expanding flat toward the downside. To reach, of course, this area, it is very hard to say for Ethereum. 1-to-1 fib level as a regular flat, you would like to see, of course, 700 almost as a price for Ethereum, which is very low, actually. Basically, I see this as very far possibility, and especially if you take a look at it on the linear chart. On the linear chart, it is even worse. Yeah, it can, the 1-to-1 fib level can become to the 118. And this is a very even, yeah, I mean, this is the fib level linear. So if you're thinking about it as linear, imagine that Ethereum going back to 118 even. On the logarithmic, of course, it's still looking a little bit even much better. And that's why I use logarithmic, because it is much more precise, to be honest, and to see, of course, the wave much more precisely and accurate. However, even 739 for Ethereum sounds a little bit very weak. However, if this is gonna be hit, we need, of course, an impulse toward the downside. Of course, that is a scenario. We're gonna see it, of course, on the 4-hour chart or 1-hour chart here. But highest possibility right now for Ethereum that I see, of course, is the triangle. And that triangle is exactly this one. I'm talking about this possibility with an A, B, C, D, and an E. For this analysis, I added today even the timing for, of course, this wave to finish. In case we are in a wave A and we're looking for a wave B in a triangle, your wave B would like to hit perfectly the 0.618 as a fib time, of course, to finish a correction A, B, C, D, E, and then moving toward the upside. And that means, of course, the fib time based on this 0.618 would be in October 2025. Finishing a wave C, finishing wave D and a E, and then moving toward the upside. This is the highest possibility for Ethereum because, of course, Ethereum, yeah, it is showing a lot of sideways and very long sideways in time. And when you see, of course, a wave, corrective wave going much more sideways and taking much more time, you start to doubt that it's going to take a lot of lower prices. Because based on Elliott wave analysis as well and Elliott wave theory, the more time you spend in a correction, the less price as lower prices you get. Yeah, so if you spend more time, you get even less lower prices. Yeah, it moves more in sideways rather than getting lower prices, and even rather than getting the low. This is the idea. So we might not even take the low in Ethereum. We might just simply move in time until the momentum of this correction just dies and start to move toward the upside. And basically right now we are looking at this scenario as well, which is a double 1-2 1-2 1-2, and you're looking at a WX and a Y in a wave 2. So if you have a 1-2 here, you finished an impulse, another 1-2, and this 1-2 right now is, of course, looking for a wave Y between the blue box, which is 1,600 almost, and 1,209. Because we have passed the 1-to-1 fib level, the next fib level for this wave Y might be the following fib levels: 1.23, 1.38, which are also expanding flat fib level at the same time, right? If you have an ABC, because it is, of course, an ABC expanding flat, by the way, this wave Y. So those are perfect fib level for a wave C in an expanding flat. So basically, even if we are in a triangle, this scenario is still inside it. Why? Because if we take those prices, the triangle will not be broken. Yeah, meaning that this double 1-2 it can be, of course, even like high possibility that because of course it stays inside this triangle, but the difference is that you would like to see a wave 3 already directly toward the upside. Now, why it is a little bit lower possibility? Because we have passed the perfect time required for a wave 2. In case you have a 1 and you're looking for a wave 2, the 0.618 was the perfect time. Right now, even you have passed the 1-to-1 fib level, that's why it reduces the possibility and it gives higher possibility for the triangle. Now, the last possibility, which is basic Elliott wave, of course, after 5 waves up, a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, impulse finished wave 1, you're looking for an ABC corrective wave, and this corrective wave has to be your wave 2, which is, of course, a regular flat. ABC, you're looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to seek after impulsive wave toward the downside. Is this wave impulsive? Let's see together on the 2 hours chart if this is an impulse. If this is an impulse, we have, of course, this scenario for it, for this leg. We start from here with a 1, 2 with the magenta, 1, 2 with the orange, 3, 4, and a 5 for the orange. Where is it? We cannot see a wave 5 yet finished for the orange scenario, right? You have so far inside this wave 5, 1, 2, and 1, 2 potentially again. And I don't like, of course, that this is an impulse. Well, yeah, it's not really looking nice as an impulse. Therefore, what's going on, right? So the last scenario can be, of course, an ending diagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. But still also very low possibility. I mean, you would like to see zigzags, right? If you have a zigzag here, let's say this is your wave 1, A, B, C for wave 2, what is the momentum of that diagonal? Yeah. So if you have 1, 2, and then therefore this is the only possible scenario that you can get an ending diagonal. But even with an ending diagonal, let's say it finishes with an ending diagonal, yeah, somehow like this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 with a very strong momentum. You still need a wave of 4 and a 5 after it because you have double 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So this ending diagonal would be, of course, only to serve the wave 5 in the orange scenario. And then, of course, looking for 5 to finish of course, the magenta. Now, okay, if that happens, I mean, of course, it is very weak for Ethereum. And we are looking for definitely this target, which is the 1-to-1 fib level that we saw, of course, on the daily. 1-to-1 fib level, let's see it on the daily again. 1-to-1 fib level, 1 for a regular flat in an A, B, and a C. So if this is the scenario, okay, we have to follow it, of course, step by step to see what's going on. But so far, I see different scenario for this area on the 2-hour charts. This is the alternative scenario here. The alternative scenario is a sideways for the triangle that we saw, where you have finished 3 waves toward the downside for a wave W. You got an X as a perfect X, of course, for this sideways and a very choppy. And you're looking for an A, B, C toward the downside. The 1-to-1 fib level taken from the A to the B here has to be adjusted, of course, because we have a new, that was an old one. So let's adjust since we took the high here. Yeah, so basically this can, of course, follow perfectly with the triangle as well. So we're looking for a wave C basically here. With this wave C, you're gonna finish a wave Y, which is the following scenario here, yeah, as bearish. And this scenario, of course, works very nicely with the triangle that we're talking about, A, B, C, D, and E. So basically, what I'm seeing for the next target right now for Ethereum, which is a little bit much more clearer after topping here for the wave B, topping low, but actually I expected a little bit higher, but it looks like it won't. So 1,315, 1,200 is our next target, finishing a wave C in a triangle and moving for a wave D toward the upside. So basically, this is the highest possibility, of course, for Ethereum. If we breaking this area, okay, then we don't have any other choice than calling, of course, the invalidation of triangle, and of course, therefore, yeah, we're looking definitely for lower for this impulse towards the downside, which is, of course, your scenario in a wave C. However, this scenario is still far, and that's why, of course, until invalidation of triangle, we cannot really say that we have this scenario, which is a wave C. We have to pass, of course, first this sideways, which is much more convincing, to be honest, for based on Ethereum. As we know, Ethereum is impossible to move, of course, for lower than 1,000, especially that it was 5,000 before. Yep, so that was it for Ethereum. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.